Hello and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we're going to be taking on a slightly terrifying puzzle today. It's called Zoom Out, and it is by the terrifying Mixo. Mixo is a complete genius of a setter and solver. And we've had a lot of requests to have a go at this, which it's got 5 stars out of 5 for difficulty on Logic Masters Germany, and the comments are amazing about it. Apparently it is an absolutely stellar puzzle. I did a puzzle by Mixo, I want to say a couple of weeks ago, that was absolutely brilliant. And it's got very straightforward rules here, but you can see, I mean, if you just even take a cursory look at the grid, there's not much here. There really isn't much here. It's just these are thermometers, those are German whispers lines. I'll explain what all this means in a minute, but there's normal Sudoku. There's no extra rules. So there is there's going to be fishiness afoot, I suspect. And we'll have a look at this in a moment or two's time. Now, I don't have much news for you today. It is the 20th, which is the closing date of our competition over on Patreon. So if you haven't had a go... Sorry, my phone was buzzing at me there. Let me... I should have been using this more often, actually. But this is the Scojo... This is the Scojojobo flyer for our Patreon reward for August. A wonderful, wonderful series of puzzles by Scojo, Jojo and JoBo. You can actually see some of them in the background there. But yeah, if you haven't even started the pack yet, yeah, that's going to be, unless you're a very quick solver, to get it done by the end of today and get it submitted is probably going to be a tough ask. But we are very, very generous about, we don't say that there's a hard cut-off during the 20th. So providing it basically gets to us on time, you could still get it done in time, perhaps. And it's certainly, if you haven't had a look at it, you must have a look at it. The puzzles in it are wicked. They are brilliant. So do have a go, even if it's not to enter the competition. Now, anything else? I don't think I've got anything else to tell you. I don't have any birthdays today, so why don't we just kick into it? Let's read the rules of Zoom Out and see what Mixo has in store for us. The rules are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Maverick, that's not taken long. 2 minutes 30 for Maverick to come and buzz past my window. Normal Sudoku rules apply, so we've got to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Digits along a grey thermometer form an increasing sequence in order with the lowest digit in the bulb. So sometimes we write that as digits along a thermometer must increase from the bulb end. So if this square here was a 3, this square here would have to be more than 3. It doesn't have to be 4. So you can skip digits out as you go upwards. So the 3, 5, 7, 8 would be a completely legitimate way to fill a thermometer. Just make sure that as mercury rises as the temperature rises, so must our Sudoku digits rise as we go up along Sudoku thermometers. And then the only other rule is that digits separated by a green line differ by at least 5. I think that what that means is adjacent digits on one of these green lines, which are all 2 cells long, have to differ by 5. So if this square here was a 2, this square here would have to be at least equal to 7. Because it must be at least 5 different from 2, so it could be 7, 8 or 9. And they are all the rules. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now, I get to play. Let's get cracking. We'll restart the clock. Yeah, I mean, frankly, I'm going to tell you that this must be a set-based puzzle. And I might be wrong about... Oh... Well, okay, no, I still think it is. I was just wondering about 5, actually, in column 5. 5, 6, 7, 8. No, but I don't think that... I haven't changed my mind. I still think it's a set-based puzzle. What is set? Well, it's sort of set equivalence theory, and it's used for puzzles, or it's not used. It tends to be helpful for puzzles that have extremely sparse cluing. And I'm going to claim this puzzle has extremely sparse cluing. I mean, let's run through some of the secrets that we could bring to bear on this puzzle, but will, I think, establish that they're not very helpful. So, green lines, they can't contain the digit 5, because if they do, if you try and put 5 on a green line, you're going to have a lot of trouble with the other digit. because this needs to be 5 different at least from 5. And you can see if we go downwards, we get to 0. And if we go upwards, we get to 10. And they aren't Sudoku digits, and anything more extreme is just even sillier. So you can't put 5 on lines. I mean, that's basically... I mean, that's some of the secrets for green lines, which is typically like 4 and 6 are monogamous digits. They only have one partner. They're not even useful on 2-cell green lines. So I doubt very much that the green lines individually could possibly be interesting here. And then the thermometers are all tiny. They're length 4 thermometers. I mean, that's just, yeah, they are. There is no difference. You can Sven's software is very clever. If you double click, or if you just hold down the mouse button in the bulbs, it will highlight all the thermometers of the same length. So you can see that these are all the same length because it lights up all the bulbs. So they're all of length 4. Now let's think about what that means. Well, that means almost nothing. I mean, this digit could be as high, I mean, it can't actually be 6, but it could have been 6 absent the 6 in the middle. 6, 7, 8, 9. This one could be 6. So this digit here has 6 different options. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And there's just not enough constraint. So I think what we must be having to do is to use the clues together somehow. And it looks to me... I mean, this might be wrong, so if this is wrong, just ignore me, and I'll try something else in a minute. But it looks to me like it's something like rows 159 versus columns 159. So I'm going to look at that first, and then we'll move on from there as required. So if hopefully are those colours good? I think I'll stick with purple and yellow. So. In fact, before we draw any conclusions about this, let me just have a quick look at this. Well, I don't know what that means, but it's that I can see one thing that's interesting, so I want to talk about that. So I am going to use this at least initially. So. What have I done here? Well, I've highlighted 3 complete rows of the puzzle in purple. And although I don't know the order of the digits within each of these purple rows, so I can't tell you, for example, where the 9 goes in row 1, I do know if I treat all of the purple cells as a collection of digits, there are 27 of them, and I know exactly what the total composition of purple is, because it's 3 complete rows of the Sudoku. So there's going to be, within purple overall, there will be 3-digit 1s, 3-digit 2s, 3-digit 3s, all the way through to 3-digit 9s. And the same is true for the columns, where I've highlighted 3 complete columns of the Sudoku in yellow. So the total composition of yellow is 3-digit 1s, 3-digit 2s, etc., all the way through to 3-digit 9s. So we can say that as a collection, the purple collection and the yellow collection are identical. Now, what would happen, therefore, if we took this cell out of purple and yellow? You can see it's coloured purple and yellow. So if I took that cell out of purple and yellow, could we say anything interesting about what remains in purple and what remains in yellow? Well, yeah, we can. Because although we don't know what digit will end up being in here in the finished grid, we do know that this cell's contents used to be in purple and used to be in yellow. But if I'm taking that cell out of both purple and yellow contained the same thing before I took that cell out, and that cell was in purple and in yellow, then what's left, the 26 cells that are left in purple and yellow, must still be the same collection of digits. Now, I can't now tell you that they're 3 1s, 3 2s, 3 3s, 3 4s, etc., all the way through to 3 9s, because we don't know what this digit is. But we can say they're the same still. So I can do that for any sort of bichromatic cell, any cell that's in both yellow and purple. So we can immediately do this. And the reason that this makes me think there's something going on is if you look at the thermometers now, what we can see is that all of the tips of the thermometers are in purple, and all the bulbs of the thermometers are in yellow. So I think what we've got going on here is something to do with the, it's something to do with the total sum of yellow and the total sum of purple. Because, I mean, if we filled in this thermometer like that, you can see that the tip is at least 3 greater than the bulb, and that's applying for all 4 thermometers. So just the thermometers cause purple to be at least 12 greater than yellow. And also in purple we've got 5 and 8 in given cells, where we don't have any given digits in yellow. So 5 and 8 is 13. So 13 plus at least 12 is 25. So purple is sort of, it's inbuilt at least 25 greater than yellow. But we've got 2 cells here in yellow that could both contain 9s, and that would eat up most of the difference. And then we've got, hang on, how does this work? So then you've got, so the remaining difference, let's just say, let's imagine that was 9. Any remaining difference between purple and yellow, and there would have to be at least some, has to be made up by dint of the tiny whisper lines. But that could easily happen, couldn't it? I mean, because if I did say 6 and 1, but that means I've now got now I've got to put 6 and 1 into yellow, because yellow and purple contain the same things. But I suppose what I could do there's nothing. Actually, it might be better to not choose 6 and 1 here, actually. If I choose 2 and if I choose 1, 2 and 7. Then what I'm trying to envisage is how this works in terms of, because I've now got to put 2 and 7 into yellow. But obviously, yeah, see, or maybe if I've got 9 here, I could put 9 in here, because I do need to match the 9s off. And then this could be a 1. Or it could be a 4, and then I could put 4 in a bulb. Oh, this is confusing me. Let me just think about this for a moment. It's something to do with this. Whatever I put in here has to go into yellow, but could go into the gaps in yellow, or could go into the thermo bulbs in yellow. But 1, 2. Presumably I've got the same 6, 6. So I've got the same number of. What I'm thinking now is I've got across a German whispers line, because a German whispers line can't contain a 5. One of the digits on this, say, look at this domino here. One of the digits is higher than 5. One of the digits is lower than 5. So I'm wondering if what we actually do here is we sort of match off high digits and low digits. that might not be a valid approach. I'm unsure. I'm unsure whether I can do that. Okay, so in purple overall, in purple's green lines overall, there are 6 high digits and 6 low digits. And in yellow's green lines, there are 6 high digits and 6 low digits. So they do. So they match off. They might not be the same digits, but it is true to say that there are that many high digits. There are the same number of high digits in purple and yellow. If I just look at the green lines. So what I'm saying now is that by deleting the green lines from both sets, because there were 6 green lines in each set, I've taken an equal number of high digits from yellow and from purple, and an equal number of low digits from yellow and from purple. So what I'm thinking now is, I've got to make sure I've got 2 high digits here. Well, it depends whether 5 is high or not. Because 5 sort of is a nothing number from a German whisper's perspective. I mean, it's true to say that when I put the 5 into yellow, the 5 that must exist in yellow, it could be in the bulb, couldn't it? It definitely couldn't have gone in any of those yellow whisper squares, because it can't go on a German whisper's line. So, at this juncture, what am I saying? Am I saying anything of interest? I'm saying that well, purple almost has to be, but hang on, purple can't be all. Hang on, there is definitely a constraint here, because purple. Hang on. Sorry, I'm not thinking this. I feel I'm on the tip of understanding something about this, and I think it's to do with highs and low digits, but I can't quite get my head around it. But I feel like it's to do with the fact that we noted ab initio that all of the tips of the thermos are in purple, which makes them almost certainly have to be high. And when I say high, I mean I'm sort of thinking about that from a German whisper's perspective. But it's not quite true, because the problem is that this one could be a 4. Well, any of them could be a 4, but if it's a 4 on the line, but if it's a 4, you would get a low digit in the bulb, so the low digits would match off, and that's what they have to do. So if you... Yeah, okay, let's think about this. Let's think about this slightly differently then. Yes, here is a way to think about it, I think. Actually, hang on. hang on. If you put a low digit in yellow, how could you do that? So, for example, if that was a 3, I think the puzzle's broken now. And I might be wrong, but that's what my brain is telling me. Now, my brain has been known to be extremely naughty. And if it's being naughty now, I apologise on its behalf. But the reason I think this is a problem is that I've equated, if you like, the high and low digits between my yellows and my purples at the moment. So I've got to preserve that quality. Now, indubitably, 3 is a low digit. It's in terms of it's lower than 5. This is definitely a lower than 5 digit. So given that we had equality at this point, because we matched off our low and high digits on the green lines when I deleted them, this low digit in yellow must be matched off with a low digit in purple somewhere, because otherwise there are more low digits in yellow than there are in purple in the puzzle, but we know that the yellow and the purple digits were overall the same set of digits, so that cannot be true. So how do I do this? How do I put a low digit into purple such that there is balance? I just can't do it, because obviously on this thermometer this digit will be high. It will be definitely higher than 5. And if I was to put, I can't put a purple digit in the tip of, I can't put a low purple digit into any tip of a thermometer. And the other 2 places where I could have put low digits actually have given digits which are high digits. So I can't do it that way. So that in fact the only way that you can have a low digit, you can have a low digit, but only if it's 1. Is what I'm going to claim now. Because if it's 1, then that could be a 4. And that equates the low digits still. We've still got 1 low digit in yellow and 1 low digit in purple. So I still have balance on the 2 sides of purple and yellow. They have the same number of low digits, which is obviously essential overall. But if I go any higher, let's say I go 2 and 5, which would be the minimum, that cannot work, can it? Because now what I need to do is to put a genuine low digit. In order to have balance, I must have a genuinely low digit in purple, and there is nowhere to put it. Or, to be very precise about that, yes, I could put a low digit in purple, there, for example. But if I did that, I would still get another low digit in yellow. So I've still got a mismatch, because overall I've got 2 low digits and only 2 low digits in yellow and only 1 low digit in purple. So it cannot work. So in fact, there is a constraint. Right, so what's the constraint? The constraint is that none of the thermos span 5. That's a loose way of putting it. That's nearly right, I think. Or at least if you put the thermo tips, they can only be low if they are 4. That's certainly true. And you can't put a number like a 7 in a thermo tip, because that's going to create a low digit in a bulb which you can't then mimic in purple. Now, could you put an 8 into a thermo? So 8, 7, 6, 5. And that would put a 5 in yellow. But we know that, we know 5s are okay in yellow, because we've got a purple 5 here. So we can have, okay. Okay, so let's do this. Let's just do this one by one. So 4, I think, is fine in a purple tip. 4, 3, 2, 1 works. That has balance. If you put 8 in a purple tip, then again you can't put 4 here, because if this is 4, it's low, and I now need to put another low digit into purple, and I can't do it without creating a mismatch in the number, because the only way I can do it is on a 4, 3, 2, 1 thermo, and that's going to create another low digit, which then has to be mimicked in purple, etc. So we get iterative problems. But what I might be able to do is that. And the reason this works is that this digit doesn't have a quality of being low from a Whisper's perspective. It's a 5, which is sort of a nothing from a Whisper's perspective. But clearly 5 is a possible digit to match in purple because we do have a given purple 5. So I think it is in theory at least possible to have 8 as a tip, and obviously 9 is going to work in a tip because you could go down to 6 with 8, 7, 6, or you could have a 5 in a bulb with a 9 on it. So I think what we're meant to appreciate is that these squares are all from 4, 8 and 9. And that does what? Well, no, it's better than that, isn't it? It is better than that, because remember that the bulbs in these instances are either 1 in the case of the tip being a 4, or they're 5 or they're 6. So there isn't, it's not like there's a million options down the thermos. They are a bit constrained. So if this is 4, this is 3, this is 2, and that would be the same. 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2. If this is 8, you have to go 7, 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7, 6. If this is 9, then you could add 8 to this and 7 to this. 8, 7. Sorry, 8, 7. 8, 7. Oh, and obviously you could go 8, 6, but we already catered for that when we did the 8 variant and the tip. So the thermos are a bit constrained. But what about these digits then? Don't they have to be? They have to be high. When I say high, they could be 5, although that one couldn't be. Because the reason these both have to be high is if we were to put, let's say we put 4 in here, again that gives us exactly the same issue, where now I have to go, because I've mismatched now the number of low digits in yellow, I've given yellow 1 more low digit than the purples, I have to go along to one of these purples and put a low digit in. And the only low digit I can put in, we've worked out, is a 4. But the problem is, with putting a 4 in a low digit, it puts a 1 in a bulb, which gives you another low digit in yellow, and just means the problem exacerbates, because then you've got to go and find another low digit in purple. And you can never create a situation where you put a low digit. This is brilliant, Mixer. I'm starting to understand it. You just can never put a low digit in purple that doesn't create another low digit in purple. So you could never deal with the mismatch. So in fact, these squares here are high. They're from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's not 5, and that's not 8. Okay, that's not brilliant, is it? Hang on. These can't be 6 by dint of a little known technique that I rarely explore in these puzzles, known as Sudoku. So now I've got a 1-5 pair. Right. Well, that's very interesting. No jokes. Because that does mean, as one of these circles is a 1, one of these is a 4, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, that doesn't help though, does it? Or does it? Don't see how. So 1 and 5 appear in bulbs. What on earth does that mean? I haven't got a clue. Oh. Okay, I don't know what that means actually, but one thing I have noticed is I've now got quite a lot of high digits in row 5. Because oh, in fact, I could have seen this before, I suppose. One of these had to be a 4 before all this. If we just take stock of row 5, you can see that we've got 2 whisper lines that I've got nothing on, but each of those whisper lines individually will contain a high digit and a low digit. Now, so imagine this had been an 8-9 pair. We couldn't have put 2 high digits in there because the only high digit available would have been 7, because 6 has gone, and then the 8-9 pair would take care of the 2 other high digits, so it would have been impossible to fill the row. So there was always a low digit in one of these 2, which was always a 4, and there must be a 7 on one of these, and then whichever of 8 and 9 is not used, which means that the wing digits here are 1, 2, 3 or 5, and one of them is a 5. Yeah, okay. So that's interesting a bit. Yeah, this is good. Right. Okay. So now let's use Sudoku in a way that I haven't done an X-wing for absolutely yonks on the channel. Look at column 5. Where's the 5? And we know it's in one of the bulbs. So this square here, this little square, is not a 5. So where's the 5 in the bottom row? And the answer is I don't know, but it's either there or there. So I just want to highlight those 4 squares for a moment. Because in row 5, the 5 is in a blue square, and in row 9, the 5 is in a blue square. So here is a question I would like to ask. How many 5s do we anticipate there being if we correctly complete this puzzle in column 1 and column 9? Well, in column 1 there will be 1 5. That's because of the rules of Sudoku. And in column 9 there will be 1 5. So altogether, in column 1 and column 9, there will be 2 5s. Well, how many 5s are we anticipating there being in the blue squares? Well, there'll be 1 in one of those 2 in row 5, and there'll be 1 in one of those 2 in row 9. So there are definitely 2 5s in the blue squares. So they are all the 5s that could possibly exist in columns 1 and columns 9. Because if we did say make this a 5 as well, once we add the fact that there's definitely 2 5s in blue, then column 1 and column 9 now have at least 3 5s in them, and that will break Sudoku. So that's interesting. So we can take 5 out of these squares, and I can take 5 out of that square. So now, well now, is that, do I know these are different, or could they be the same? They can't both be 1, because I couldn't put 1 in the middle row. But whether this is 1 or 6... Well, it's either 1, 2, 3, 4, or it's 6, 7, 8, 9. So we can get rid of some options there, can't we? So that's not done very much. I bet you these are both 6s. Actually, just looking at the geometry of the grid, that would cause 2 9s here. 9 would be in one of those squares. That's probably all right. Okay. Wow. So I don't know what that does, but it did a little tiny thing, didn't it? So how do we make any more progress as a result of that little deduction? The answer is I haven't got a Scooby-Doo. Do we actually... Do we really get... Okay, I don't know. I really don't know what I'm missing now. It's not possible. These can't. One of these is 4. So whichever one of these is 4 is going to cause there to be a 9 in one of those squares. So at least one of these is 6. That is true. At least one of these is 9. Now, how does that help us, or does it not? Wow, I don't know. I don't know at all. I'm sorry about this. Golly gosh, this is very difficult actually, isn't it? He says, desperately trying to work out what on earth to do. So I know I've got 6 and either 8 and 9 here. So 7 is definitely appearing either here or here, along with a 1 or a 2, in order to be a 5 apart digit. So that feels a little interesting. I don't think it's enough though, is it? If this was 9, then these squares would have to contain 6 and 7. If this is 4, and this is 4, then 4 would be in one of those two squares. If that was 4, this would be 9. And that would knock 9 out of there as well, wouldn't it? Sorry, this is probably very obvious, but it's not obvious to me. I haven't got this at all, have I? So if you go, there's no reason, is there, that this thermometer has to be a one-stepping thermometer. If this is a 5, I can't assume this is going to be an 8, because that would be useful, because that would give me a 4-8 pair in the middle box. I don't think that is right though. I mean, 1 and 5 have to be in those squares, I suppose, in the middle box, if that's of any relevance to anything. I don't think it is, but again, I might be wrong. Is it going to be, is it 5? No, I don't think it is going to be that. 5 in box 9 is in one of 2 places. That is true, just by Sudoku. So that must also be true over there, but just in a different places. Oh, it's not some weird Phistomefelian thing, is it? No, it's not. No, I'm sure it's not. Well, I'm not. No, I'm not sure it's not, but I don't think it is. Okay. Golly. Let me think. If we go, I almost feel like I need to unwind one of these thermometers in order to understand whether it's causing any pressure in the grid somehow. We've got one low digit here and one high digit here. There's going to be a low or a high here, and there's going to be a low or a high here. So these digits in the sort of wings of column 5 one of them is high, one of them is low. So obviously, if we knew what the parity of this was, it would be interesting, wouldn't it? It would be, well, the most interesting thing this could be would be a 9. Because that would allow me to think about low digits in the row. But why would this have to be a 9? If it's a 9, this would be a 6. This would be, oh, okay, yeah, I see. Yeah, so is it something to do with these squares? I hadn't thought about this, but those squares, you can see whether this is 1 or 6, these two squares here, and presumably the same is going to be true up there, they have the quality of taking 2 low digits or 2 high digits away from these squares. And therefore, these squares are going to have to include one of these has to. Oh, one of them has to be 4, 9. Is that it? Oh, please tell me that's it. That's so beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Is it? I think it is it, yeah. This is so clever. It's so ludicrously clever, but this is it. So this is where we had to look. Right. Let's delve into this quite carefully because it's not easy, but I think it's correct. So, option 1 is that this is a 2-3 pair. Now, if this is a 2-3 pair, we know that we've only got the digits 1 and 4 to occupy the low digits on the whispers here. So one of these is going to have a 4 on it. And that one can't be this one because 4 is monogamous and that's going to create a 4-9 pair. So this would be a 4-9 pair and this would be a 1-6 pair. That's option 1. Now, option 2 is that this was a 7-8 pair. Now again, we've got the same sort of issue in that we've now got to put 6 into one of these things, but we can't put 6 here because 6 would go with 1 and that would break this one. So this again becomes a 1-6 pair and this is a 4-9 pair, so it's just forced. This is always this way round. Now does it? Yeah, and it's the same, exactly the same logic here. So this is always 1-6, this is always 4-9, and now that's not 9. Let's be careful here actually because that's not 9. Just in case, you know, there's something extra that we can learn from all of this jiggery-pokery. So if this is 7-8, these squares are going to be 2-3-5. So these are either 2-3-5 or 7-8-5. Okay, now, how do we take this further? I mean, that felt like an enormously powerful deduction. That was surely in some way relevant to how we're meant to solve the puzzle. But it hasn't actually... I don't think it's done what I needed it to do. Could be wrong. I mean, whatever this is, it finds a friend up here. Or is it something to do with... I don't really like the idea of it being to do with the yellow digits somehow. But it could be, in a way I'm not spotting. And where did all that thought came from me trying to work out how the bottom row worked, didn't I? So if this was a 9 now, this would be a 2-7 pair. Is that difficult or is that easy? It looks okay, I think. Again, I might be wrong, but I'm not seeing a massive problem there. One of these is 5, one of these is low. Okay, sorry. No, we're back to the grindstone here. Now, what did we work out? Because we knew one of these is 4, we know one of these is 1, and one of these is 8 or 9, but we're not sure which. And it's these two squares. I have a feeling. What do I think? I think they're either both. They can't both be 1. That is definitely true. Is there a reason that they have to both be 6? I don't think so, but let me mull or cogitate on that thought for a moment or two. So if one of them is a 1, what happens to the world? Let's make that one a 1. Then we have to do that, don't we? There's a 1 in one of those squares. Is that in any way? Oh, this becomes... Oh. Ah, it doesn't work. That's it. Wow. Oh, this is... Makes those a total genius. I mean, how on earth? How on earth? How on earth do you set this sort of thing? It is absolutely breathtaking. Right. Right. So... What I'll actually hang on. No, I'm still slightly unsure. I've spotted something, but I'm not exactly sure I understand it yet. So what I've noticed is that if this is a 1, then this is a 5, which makes this a 1. Which makes this a 9, which makes this a 6. So we'd have to be in this sort of world. And in fact, that would be 8 then. Yeah, that's interesting. So you are always ending up but does it matter? So I'm noticing the interaction of this digit and this digit, because this digit being 2 removes the only low digit from this square and forces this thermometer to be high. Now, and that logic is symmetrical in the sense that, let's just go back to here. I think that was where we were. Yeah. In the sense that if this is 1, it causes this to be high. And if this is 1, because this would be 2, it causes this thermo to be high. And that's all very well, but the other thing that happens, which I hadn't appreciated before, is that these 2 digits in the middle, neither of them can be a 9. So they are going to be a 4-8 pair. Now that feels of relevance. But... okay, but let's actually just think this through a bit harder. If this was double 6, can we also conclude that that doesn't work for some reason? Because that's putting this into play, isn't it? How is that somehow difficult? Obviously that's putting 9. This is making this again 4, 8. This is always 4, 8. That is something that I am comfortable with. But four, 8. One of these is 9. Sorry, and I realise you're probably all shouting at me saying, okay, well, it's obvious, Simon, but it's not obvious to me yet. I'm sure it's obvious somehow. And of course it's fine for this to be 7 and this to be 7. That's absolutely fine. And you may say, oh, but hang on, you've not got any 7s in purple. But don't forget, the overall way we were thinking about the puzzle was equating highs and low digits across the whispers and everything else. So the fact, if this is double 7, the fact that none of these purples can be 7 is no problem, because that's just going to mean in the original setup where we had purples, with the purples in these cells, I think they were, there are going to be some purple 7s in those cells. That's what that's telling us. So that doesn't seem to be, that seems to be fine anyway, is where we got to with that. Yeah, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back and think about this again, because that felt very constrained all of a sudden. So that's forcing... Well, what's that doing? It's forcing, because this can't be 2, it forces this thermo to be high. It forces this thermo, therefore, to be low, because we know there is a 4 in one of these. Ah! Ah! Oh, that's huge. Right. Okay, so now I've spotted something else I've never spotted before. Right. So again, Mixo's performing Sudoku magic on us, because now what I've noticed is if you put 1 here, because this becomes 3, so it has 2 effects. You put 1 here, it forces this thermo to be high, which forces this thermo to be low, which forces this to be 3, but if that's low, that's 3 as well. And that logic is symmetrical across the board, so it's mirror symmetrical. So if we make this 1, that's going to be 3 and that's going to be 3. So in fact, my hunch was correct initially. Neither of these can be 1, they are both 6. Which means this is 7, this is 8, this is 9. This is 7, this is 8, this is 9. These are a 4-8 pair, but we've known that by dint of a different deduction already. So now we can take out 8 from here, 7 from here, 8 from here, 7 from here. Right, and now this is 2, 7. Because it's got to have a high digit on it, and that's the only high digit that's available is 7, and it can't go with a 1 because of this. So have we got the same? No, we don't have the same thing in the top row because I don't have the given 8. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, but now, presumably, sorry, my phone's buzzing at me again. But now these squares have to be low digits or 5, so they're 3, 4, or 5. That's not 4 because of the 4, 9 pair. That's not 4. So 4 goes in. 4 goes in one place in row 9. So now, okay, now these have to contain a 2 and a 3 because there's a 1 pair in the bulbs, a 4 here. So this contains 2 and 3. So this digit, which can't be 5, is high, and it's 7 or 8. It's probably useful. Hang on. Right, if these are 7s and 8s, then we know these are 2, 3, 5 combinations, don't we? So let's put those in and see if we can... We know that's not 5 by Sudoku. That's not 5 by Sudoku. Can we get a little bit more out of that somehow? This is high. That's high. 9 is high. There's a high one here. So this is a low digit that is 2, 3 or 4. It's not 4 because of this 4, 9 pair. So there's a 2, 3 pair in... Oh, this is broken. This is broken. I've made a mistake. Because I've got nowhere for 4 in the top row. Because this 4, I can't put 4, 9 on the whisper. I can't put 4 there because of this 4, 9. Oh, so there's another problem then. What have I got wrong there? I'm sorry, I'm sure that there's an... No, I'm not sure that there's an easy explanation for this, actually. I feel like I've constrained my 4s too much. But I don't understand how. How have I got that wrong? I mean, it's very clear now I look at it that I've got a problem with 4s in the top row. Or I've got a problem with 4s across the board, actually. I'm going to go right back because I'm wondering now about my 4, 9 pencil marks and 1, 6 pencil marks. Was that not valid? So what was the thinking? Let's go back through that. I have to move my phone away. It's annoying me now. My thought was that if this was 2, 3, I've got to put 2 low digits on there, which was going to be 1 and 4. 4 is monogamous, so it's going to go with 9. So that's going to make this 4, 9. That's very fair. And that's going to... Ah, does it make that 1, 6? Yes, hang on. Ah, that's the problem, is it? Yeah, that's the problem. Right. I've spotted the problem. The problem is subtle but important. Right, so let's think about this again. Because what I did was, I said that if this was 2, 3, I have to put 4 on a whisper. That's totally true. And the 4 on the whisper would have to go here. That's also totally true. But I then said, stupidly, ah, well that must be 1, 6 then. But that's not true. Because this is a 2, 3 pair in this instance. So I've still got lots of high digits available for this domino. I don't have to put 6 on it. So the alternative is that this is a 7, 8 pair, and that requires us to put 6 in one of these, which couldn't go here. So this would be 1, 6. So what we've got to in fact do, I mean, it's interesting. It is interesting, but I don't think I know. I know that if this is 2, 3, this is 4, 9. And I know if this is 7, 8, this is 1, 6. But I don't think I know more than that. So what we're going to do instead then is we're going to go to the other deduction, which I think is still valid, which is that I don't think this can be 1. Now, pregnant pause. Is that correct? If this is 1, we're saying this is 3. We're saying this is high, so this is high. So we're saying this is low, and we're saying this is 3. It doesn't work still. So that logic is fine. We have to go 6, 7, 8, 9. We have to go 6, 7, 8, 9. There is a 9 in one of those. That is true. There is no 9 in either of those. That is true. It's also true, therefore, to take 8 out of here. It's true to take 7 out of here. Now let's come back and look at over here, because now if we've got 7, 8 pairs, we're going to get the 1-6 trick, aren't we? But we're not going to get the 4-9 trick, and that's going to remove the pressure from the 4s in rows 1 and 9. Okay, getting there slowly. Right, so if this is 7-8, we still have the problem. We've got to put 6 on a line in box 1. It can't go on this line, obviously. So the 6 must go on this line, where it must be accompanied by a 1. The same must be true here, which means there is a 9 on this line, but we don't, and there is a 9 on this line. Both of those things are true, but we don't know what the accompanying digit is. And that, I think, is going to matter in terms of 4s. So if that becomes 1-6 and this becomes 1-6, well then this is 2-7. That which is the same logic as before, because it can't be 9-8, 9-8 or 6. But now this can't be 2 for a totally different reason. If this is 2, this is 6 and that's 7, and those two are both 7. So that's got to be 7, I think. That's lovely. So that's not going to do anything, but that does seem to be true. Oh, please do something. You rotten puzzle. You rotten puzzle. Okay, so the bottom row, we have got this 3, 4, 5 thing going on still. That's not 5. But this time we can't prove this is 4 because we don't know what's accompanying the 9s. Okay, well that's still good. It's still good. It's still good, Simon. You're still okay here. Okay. Where is 8? In column 1. I'm going to claim there by a process known as Sudoku. So this is 1, 2, or 3. It's not 2. So 8 is in one of those 2 squares. If it was here, this would be 1, 2, or 3. Probably fine, not sure. Okay, this 6 means this is a 7. I hadn't spotted that. Is that doing something? Plonk 7 into one of these squares. We know there's a 9 on here already. So I suppose we know this square is 2, 3, or 4, don't we? That is still a very fair comment because we've used up all the high digits in column 1. Now, can we do anything else? We probably can. I just don't know what. 8 is in one of those squares by Sudoku. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. That might be resolvable somehow, but it's not immediately clear to me how. Let's think. Could we... Oh, this square... Ah, that square is a 7. Because it sees 6 and 8. So now there is a 7 in one of these squares. That sort of feels like I might be able to do something with that, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, so now in this column, look. There is a 9 on here, so there is an 8 on here. So this is made up of 1, 2, 3, and 8. Now, do I know where the 8 goes? I want to put it here, but I'm not certain it has to go there. And we know that this square is 2, 3, or 4. Can't be 1, and it's not 5. So it's 2, 3, or 4. So this line has got 2, 3, or 4 on it. It's not got 4 on it, because that would cause it to have 9 on it. So this has got 2 or 3 on it, and 7 or 8 on it. Now, can we do it? We can get rid of 8 and 7. Ah, 8 and 7, see this one. So that's the low digit. So this is the high digit. 7 or 8. This time, I think, I'm not sure. Well, we've got a 2, 3, 4 triple in the row. So we know this digit is a high digit. So this digit is 7 or 8 as well. I'm sort of crawling to a solution here, aren't I? Is that good? I'd love this to be somehow. I've got this like, yeah, I've got a sort of X-wing on 8s there. I know that one of these is 7 already, so I'm going to take that pencil mark out. It's an absolutely brilliant puzzle, this. It's so ridiculously clever. It's one of these puzzles that makes me feel stupid as I'm solving it. I just feel like the ideas in it are so bafflingly brilliant. And I'm trying to unearth them and understand them correctly. I think I'm sort of doing it, but at a very slow pace. So this is 9 and then 2, 3 or 4. But can we... I feel like I need to do much better with my low digits somehow. I'd love to know which way round these 4 and 8 go. I mean, that would be the real thing, which looks like it's meant to be resolved by this, doesn't it? Oh, it is. Look, 8, those squares there, those dominoes both have an 8 in them. So I can't put an 8 here, because I get an 8 there and an 8 there in column 5. So that's a 4, that's really good. So that's 4, that's 8, so that's 7, 6, 5, 1, 2, 3. Now, has that done anything? Oh, come on. Come on, let's see, what have you done? I mean, you're going to do a little bit of pencil marks. Oh no. I mean, it's getting rid of 2 from there, 3 from there. I mean, really, come on. It's going to do more. I've just got to figure out how. My window is getting, the weather's getting worse. No surprise there. The 3 gets me a 2 there, so that gets me a little bit further. So by that big, so okay, 7. What do we know about 7? Yeah, where is 7 in box 5? And it's in one of these 2 squares by Sudoku, but it can't go there because this square cannot be a 1 or a 2 by Sudoku, so the 7 must live here. And that means that's 7 and that's 8. And that means that's 8, which means this is definitely not 9, because 8 and 9 are not 5 apart, so that's 9. This square here is 1, 2 or 3, and it's not 1. So this square is 3 or 4, because it can't be 2, so the place that 2 goes in the column is there. Wow. Okay, so now I need 1, 3 and 5 to help me out in the central box, and that's not 3. No, I thought I was going to do something. I was wrong. Okay, 9 can go with 3 or 4, so I don't think we learn much about that. That's a 2 by Sudoku. So 2 is either here. Oh, 2 is there, in fact. Look at that. 2 is there. Now, this had to have 9 on it, so that's 9. And there's no 2 in any of these squares. Okay, surely that's done something. Let's plonk 9 into one of those 2 squares. These are a 3, 4, 5 triple, and that's not 3, and that's not 5. Good grief, and it's resisting. It's still resisting. This is a 6 by Sudoku. One of these is a 6. Oh, I thought I made a mistake then. I was like, where's 6 in column 9? But there is a 6. We have placed it. So I'm still alive, just. Okay, these are 3, 4 and 5, aren't they? And oh, look, that's quite interesting. So the 5 in this box is definitely in column 4, which makes that square have to be a 1, and that a 3, and that a 5. And that means that's an 8. Which means this is an 8, which means that's a 6, that's a 6, that's a 1. Wow. Wow. Has that done anything for us? I'm quite hopeful that has done something for us. I mean, it did a little bit straight away, but it might do more. 149 into this row. Let's put the options in and see what we can eliminate. 1 comes out of here. Not much, it turns out. There's probably some Sudoku to be done, I suspect. Oh dear, come on. Okay, 9 is in one of these squares. That's a little useful, because that does seem to resolve where the 9 goes in box 1. And we know this digit is low, don't we? So that's 2, 3, or 4. 2, 4. This can't be 7. What on earth is that doing there? So this is 2, 4, and 5. And that's not 2. And that's not 5. 3 is here now. So that's 4. So we do end up the same place we did before with a 3, 5 pair in the bottom row. It's just this time it's actually justified. Could we do better with a digit like 6? That's in one of those squares. These squares are a 1, 3 pair. I don't... there's a 1, 3 pair, look, in row 7. So I've not placed 4, 5, and 9. So these are 4, 5, and 9. Come on, please. Please, nasty puzzle. 7, we can see in this row, is on this, where it must be accompanied with 1 or 2, and this can't be a 1 or a 2. So the 7 goes here. I think I could have got that by Sudoku before. I just didn't see it. So now 9 is in one of these squares. But both seem to be available. Bother. That's annoying. That's not 9, I suppose. Oh, we must be on the cusp of solving it now. I do sort of think in the end I will solve it now. 1, 2, 3, and 9. This not being 2. I'm sure there's an elegant and clever way to finish it. I just wish I could see it. Let's have a look, shall we? Oh, there's a 3 here, so this is a 1. That unwinds that X-wing that we had earlier. So 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. Great. So that's 4, 2, 1, 9. Yeah, okay. Now we're getting somewhere, aren't we? We haven't put 3 into there, so that's got to be a 4. Oh. Well, that's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. 2 3s in the corner. Fantastic. This column should be done. Yeah. 2, 4, 4, 5. 2, 5, 4, 9, 9. 1, 3, and 6. So this is 3 or 6. I mean, this must be a 4 by Sudoku. 1, 3. It is a 3, 6 pair here, isn't it? But I think it's all resolved. I just have to follow the Sudoku. Follow that yellow brick road of Sudoku. Oh, and I finished the puzzle somehow. That was a surprise. What a brilliant puzzle that is. That's a mesmerising puzzle. That is as clever a thing as you will ever see. And from a constructor, is it right? Yes. Goodness me, loads of people have solved that as well. That's incredibly humbling, actually, because it's a brilliant idea. The idea that the set that you find at the beginning, you have to apply not really to the digits, but more of the set of highs and the set of lows. I've never seen that before, ever. It's completely original. And then having to think about how you could deal with low digits to allow you to sort of understand how the tips and the bulbs worked. And then I got myself in a kerfuffle, didn't I? Because I didn't understand. Well, I did understand things about this. I just misapplied it. And then, but then that allowed, well, a bit later on, we had the epiphany that neither of the bulbs here could be low. And that was very important and very mean of Mixo to make that happen as a result of Sudoku. But that's a quite brilliant puzzle. I don't know what else to say. It's total genius. It is total genius. If you disagree, I look forward to your argument in the comments, but I hope the comments will be filled with kind and erudite comments about the brilliance of this constructor. Loved it. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy those comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.